So that's the split. The split is focus, priority. In the moment that you are alive, you're doing something. You can try to do something, or you can focus uh, and feel and trust yourself. Things happen by themselves. Because what happens is your reality starts to shift, as it always does. Very flimsy thing that you can constantly manipulate. It can suffer, it can be enhanced. How many of you guys watching this know what it's like to suppress an emotion, become numb and dull, and to feel gray? Changes your reality, changes your perception of reality. More than I would say it changes yourself. Changes how you feel, which is your reality. So, the more you ignore how you feel in pursuit of being optimal, the less you do, the less you exist in reality. Somebody who experiences reality has more contact with it. They exist more. Upside down. Okay, hold on. It's like you walk into a jail cell and there's a dude, and on his arm is like tally marks carved in, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's disgusting. This guy needs help. That's me. I'm in the jail cell right now. And if you're not listening to these feelings to the point where they're more and more vivid, then you are prioritizing optimization over perceiving reality. So, okay. I don't know, maybe I'll do this in one take. I don't even know how the fuck I'm gonna do this. But I'm gonna talk about everything that I'm going through in trying to write this book or whatever. So basically, right now, what I started writing with and what I have now is completely different. The understanding is entirely different. Changed my understanding of learning and improvement overall. And so the book is a timeline of that almost, or like, not really, it's not in chronological order. It's actually in the opposite. The beginning is more recent than the end. So basically, I have this book, captures the change that I went through, but I don't know if that's good to share for people to actually improve from. So I don't know, maybe I'll show it a little bit. And it just has tons of rough notes, as it pretty much always does, because it's always reducing. So it started off, I say it's constantly reducing, even though it started off way smaller than this. So it started off really small. And now it's this fucking book. Yeah, I called it a book as a joke. It kind of looks like a fucking book now. It's just a little whatever. Anyways, what happened is I'm like, okay, I need to get better at dodging. So I got better at dodging. I got better at understanding dodging, and then I realized something very important. Okay, no, I don't even want to go into that part. Let's just go into like some points. So this is what I ended up with in the very end. After going through dodging, I ended up realizing over time, a lot of going on walks and like spending shit ton amount of time to understand this, because the more effort I put into writing this, the more I realized I don't understand this. And that's all I experienced the entire time, is I don't understand this. It wasn't getting better, it was getting worse but better feeling. So what I mean is, I'm like, yeah, my dodging sucks. I know that I feel bad close range. I know that I feel bad in Quake Live, and I don't like that. So I want to fix that. And so I thought a lot about dodging, geometry, all this bullshit. I compartmentalized dodge into pieces, understood the pieces, and then at some point, I'm like, well, why do we dodge? Okay, why do we dodge? What are we doing when we dodge? What's the resource that it gives us when we're dodging well? All right, if this guy's good at dodging, what is he gaining? So the whole point of dodging is to gain / use something. It's to benefit, it's for an impact. So as I realize this with dodge, I realize this with everything, literally everything. And now I can explain this in a much more simple manner. So I have this fucking book here that is like, it's like you walk into a fucking jail cell and this dude has like, I wish I could see, oh, I don't even have my webcam on here. Upside down. Okay, hold on. It's like you walk into a jail cell and there's a dude, and on his arm is like tally marks carved in, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's disgusting. This guy needs help. That's me. I'm in the jail cell right now. This is my fucking jail cell, all right? These are the tally marks. And each one of them is explained. It's like insane. It's insanity. But in understanding my insanity, I realized my approach to learning and improvement and teaching others has been super fucked up. I've helped a lot of people in my time of being alive. It's not like I'm this fucking insane person. But that's how I see myself now. And I feel like everyone can go through this change. So I don't want to sound super like dramatic, but basically all this stuff is like redundant, outdated. It's like old understanding. This is not going to make you good at dodging. Reading this is not going to make you good at dodging. I mean, it will help. The beginning section is where things really change, is where I really start to change how I wrote this. The end is where I'm like, this is what I wrote before. You don't have to read it, but I'm just going to leave it there for you to read it. I say that, I explain that up here somewhere. So I have the fucking documentary of the jail cell basically in written form here, and it's not finished. It will take some time to finish it if I want to finish it. I don't know if I want to finish it because I don't think it's going to help people as much as if I just go into maybe something here that I wrote down. I mean, this is like a good opener. I guess if I won't show. Okay, so this is gonna get fucking weird because this becomes very philosophical because we're talking about improvement in the end of the day, and the craziest thing about being a human is I feel like the core of being a human is looking for like improvement, looking for change, not, being bored, essentially. That's what it is to be a human. We're fucking bored. And things need to get better. We need to experience different things. And if I'm just taking this approach and I'm disconnecting it for games, for work, for social life, for going on a fucking walk, well, there's no point because they're all derivative of the same thing. I'm just trying to have a good time at the end of the day. And that is determined by what it means to be a human. So what am I doing? I'm trying to get better. How do I feel? What determines my feelings is progress, forward momentum in life, in areas that are important to me. So whether it's Apex, whether I'm becoming a fucking doctor, either way, if things aren't going good, I'm gonna feel like shit always until I deal with it. I can ignore it or I can deal with it. And so a big split happened where I realized, okay, I feel like shit. I'm trying to get better, either as a coach, a player, this area of my life, or that I haven't, that isn't shared publicly. Whatever it is in my life, if I feel bad, I try to improve it, and I'm sure that's how it is with everybody. But I realize I do it in such a fucking stupid way. Like, it started from a very young age. So I realized a lot of people this is not going to apply to. A lot of people this will apply to. A lot of people it's going to be gray. It's not going to be black or white the way this applies to you. So I think it can help everybody. And I think I'm a good example of somebody who had a really bad outlook on, or approach, I should say. Really bad approach. I didn't even realize how bad it was. And I changed it. I look back at myself even 2 months ago and I'm like, holy fuck. And everybody can say that. I said that last year. Yesterday, I was a different person. 2 weeks ago, I was a different person. 2 months ago, I was a different person. Me 5 years, holy fuck. But now, I'm like, 2 months ago, I was delusional. It's like looking at a fucking schizophrenic person. And yeah, I was able to positively help people. I was able to help people's lives. I was a decent player in my time. I was decent. But there were things wrong with me at such a core level that I just was not aware of. And it's really simple. So the split, going back to the split, is, in the end of the day, I'm sitting here. Two things can happen. I can either be thinking about what's the best way to talk right now? What's the best way to do this? How do I optimize anything? What are the best description? What's the best description on my fucking YouTube video to get the most views? What's the best way to play Apex to get the most points? What's the best way to aim? The best way to dodge? How the fuck do I go on a walk? How do I do my job? What's the best way? How do I optimize everything? What should I eat? What should I eat to feel better? What should I eat? You know, should. Think about the word should. It's part of the split. So you can optimize things and do what you should do. You can use logic. You can think about things. And you can come up with ways that are objectively better within your current data set or your current awareness, understanding of the world, your current experience. Okay? So that's where we get to the other side of the coin. So when you, maybe I should just whip out fucking paint while I do this. All right? Oh shit, it's bright. Let's make this darker. Jesus. So when you learn something, we have experience. Okay, how am I gonna explain this? Yeah, I don't know. I'll talk a little bit more before I go into drawing anything. So the split happens in realizing that we are objective. We are like pretty logical all the time. We all have common sense. We all do stuff that makes enough sense. None of us are doing things that are stupid. None of us are doing things that are just make no sense. None of us are stupid. Like, people call themselves stupid all the time. People don't trust themselves. I don't know. Anyways, so experience is the main limiting factor, in my opinion, from doing things better, being better, improving, feeling better. So yeah, you can optimize everything. You can optimize how you eat, what you do, how you play games, how you do anything in the game. You can cut up the game into little pieces and get better at all of those little things. Get better at playing zone, get better at playing edge, get better at moving, get better at aiming, get better at being a teammate, right? You can just optimize everything. It's very overwhelming. you can get really good at optimizing things. I got really good at optimizing things. And it's like every day you're walking a tightrope of optimization. It's stressful to make it your goal to do things better. Very fucking stressful. And this is one of the reasons I have so much. I don't know. I just feel bad for comp players a lot because you put so much pressure on yourself. And I know I did. I put a lot of pressure on myself and like had a lot of shame in when I played bad and everything. So, okay. I'm getting super fucking into the weeds or distracted right now. I need to just collect. The other side of the split is just realizing that you're delusional at all times. I mean, I want to lead up to it in a better way, in like a more fucking better way. But that's the end of the day. That's that. In the end of the day, we're all delusional. We all perceive things, perceive the game, reality, our senses, our imagination, how we feel things determines our reality. How we experience things is our reality. Okay. So you can sit there and you can, this is where maybe this will make sense. You can take something like Apex, all right? What the fuck am I writing? Anyways, Apex, all right? So we can cut it up into pieces. We have aim, we have dodge. I'm not gonna spell it right. We have movement. Oh, it's the same shit. We have playing zone. I'll say macro. Okay, I'm like kind of leaning too into what I'm against. Macro, whatever you want to split it into. You can split things up, and you can look at them so closely and so much detail and come up with so many changes. Tell people what to do. You know, I can look at someone and say, you're dodging in this way that I don't like, and I want you to do this. And I tell them what to do, and I tell them how to do it. I tell them how to do it good. I explain why. At the end of the day, we're just playing Apex. We're just after very simple things. Resources, impact, whatever. And that's what makes all of these things meaningful. So we take this very meaningful thing, somewhere here, wherever. We cut it up. We cut it up into less meaningful things. And then we master the less meaningful things. We spend our time, we spend our moment. This might be a better way to explain all this. Right now, in this moment, all I can do is focus. I can focus on how to teach this the best way. I can sit there, I can think about it. Or I can just kind of trust myself and say, well, I know what I'm doing. And if I trust myself to do it, well, I'm going to do it. And if something's going wrong, I'm going to feel bad. Right now I feel bad, you know. I feel like something's wrong. I need to do a better job of this, and I can either think about that, I can respond to that by thinking, or I can just focus on the feeling until that feeling, which is kind of like a voice, it's kind of like a message from your subconscious. Your subconscious knows you, knows what you want, knows what you're after in each moment, knows what you're doing, knows what your reality is at any moment. And it will tell you, like, you need to change, you need to do this, do that. And if you're not listening to these feelings to the point where they're more and more vivid, then you are prioritizing optimization over perceiving reality. So okay, this is the split. You can go in two directions. So you can VOD review, you can play the game, you can talk about the game, you can think about the game, you can do anything. Anything. Just do anything. Literally, I don't give a fuck what you do. People ask me, hey, VOD review good, this good, that good. Who cares? Just do it. See how it feels. See what it does. Focus on the impact of things. Okay. So what I mean is, this has an impact. This has an impact. This has an impact. If you understand the impact of A, B, and C, you'll realize that two of them have the same impact. Aim and dodge might have the same impact. Might not. Who cares? This is way too fucking hard to explain. I'm just gonna try to be more straightforward with it because I'm trying to give people roots instead of just let them grow their own roots here. So what I'm basically saying is you can focus on the impact of things, all right? You can move in this direction or you can move in this direction. You can cut things up, cut everything up, disconnect everything, or you can connect everything. Once you do that, you realize the relevance of the things that you're connecting. Like all this shit becomes relevant because of something here, something here, something here. Who fucking cares? Just work in this direction. I don't care if you VOD review. I don't care if you play. I don't care how you do it. It doesn't really matter how you do it. At the end of the day, you're always going to be wrong. You're always going to be wrong. Because when you understand the impact of something, when you understand the reason you do something, not even the reason, when you understand something better, when you digest your understanding of something better, you begin to experience reality more vividly, which means reality becomes more trustworthy, predictable, accurate, etc., and deep and interesting, fun. It's like an adventure to enhance your perception of reality. So this sounds fucking crazy, right? Sounds like some weird fucking yoga shit. But I mean, at the end of the day, you are completely limited. We are all completely limited. Mostly by our perception of reality. What is the difference between you and a pro player? I would say the pro player is doing things that make sense. You are doing things that make sense. This is where everybody is going to freak the fuck out and go, no, I'm stupid as fuck. I can't trust myself. I don't do things that make sense. See this every fucking day that I coach people. They don't trust themselves. They don't have compassion for themselves. They don't empathize with themselves. Every reason, every fucking key that you press is rational. It's logical. You don't need, the last thing you need is to be told what to do. To be instructed, you know. If I point out relevant information, you will do something that makes sense. Still, nothing will change in your action. Your action 100% of the fucking time is doing something that makes sense, okay? You say, what if I do drugs and I go out and I get hit by a car? Well, okay, I'm sure you didn't know the car was there. Your reality was different. So you do the same thing when you improve. You do the same thing when you play games. We just have this weird obsession with optimization, doing things better, doing things. You know, that's where we put our focus is in doing. When somebody wants to be better at aiming, well, they want to be better at aiming. They don't put their focus on the enemy's movements. They don't put their focus on how their movement feels in the enemy. They don't put their focus on what they feel. They put their focus on what they do. So this is the disconnect. This is the fucking split that I think is the big change that happened in me, happens in other people. And this is what I see in talented people who, seem to have gotten it right from the start. And it's like, well, they lucked out and they weren't taught or to do things in this fucked up way. And overthink everything, cut everything up. They make the game more simple. And people who optimize the game make the game more hard. When you optimize the game, you're walking on a smaller and smaller tightrope. When you simplify the game, that rope gets bigger. It's bigger and bigger and bigger until you realize there was no fucking rope at all. You imagined it and you're sitting there like losing your balance on the sidewalk. This is why it feels so weird to watch someone who's worse than you. Because they are just like losing their balance on the sidewalk. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think where to go next with this. Sure, you understand the main point, right? It's like, oh, it's simple. Make the game simple, not harder. Okay, I think I know where to go next. So, how do you apply this? And you already understand this, I know. Every single person understands this. This makes sense to everybody. I assume. I mean, at least to my past self, who I think was very gone, this would have made sense. And I trust that it makes sense. Yeah, everyone feels like they do this. But back to your moment. So right now there's a moment. You're not in the future or the past or whatever. You're just in this very specific slice. You know, it's like everything is actually very fucking vivid. If you just carve off, you realize how distracting everything is. And the way I'm not explaining this right. I need to go in a different order. Okay. Ugh. So confusing. So, what happens is you either are always increasing your focus on feeling, or always increasing your focus on, or not always, you're either increasing your focus on feeling or on optimization. And all we have is a moment. And so, how much focus do you really have to go around? You can say, I'll optimize the game this time. I'll try to feel it out another time. You're doing the same thing. You're just optimizing the process, the approach. Still, you're cutting it up, making a schedule. I'm going to do this at that time and that at this time. It's going to go great. Why not just feel? Why not just focus on the feel? Focus on feeling better. Because in the moment, you are surrounded by your own reality, your own perception. Everything's around you and everything makes you feel a certain way, depending on where you are, the situation, etc., 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 what you want to do, what you want to happen, what change you want to see in the world. And all of that is relayed to you through your feelings. So I'm saying, when you're sitting there doing anything at all, in your moment, whatever that is, feel it. Don't ignore your feelings. Notice when you ignore your feelings in pursuit of doing what you should do. I mean, this is very different if you're a pilot versus a fucking Apex player, okay? So you can bring up simulations and all this bullshit and safety. Maybe how you train martial arts is different, okay? Everything is different in how you approach it, maybe. I don't know. It would make sense. There's risk in martial arts. There's no risk in Apex, so I'm saying. Feel what you do. Feel what you experience more vividly until your experience changes. Until that tightrope gets wider. You can feel it getting wider. You can feel the tightrope changing. When you improve, it's kind of frustrating if you are the type of optimizing player, at least that I was. I would do so much to do things better. And then before I knew it, the game was just easier. And it's like, I didn't get any better. The game just got easier. It's like, how? Like, what a robbery. I was obsessed with being optimal. All right, let's just move on because I'm going in circles. I'm gonna have to redo this whole thing before I post it. So, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so here are kind of the summaries of the whole fucking book, like some paragraphs. Right? I'm the teacher. I'm the one who teaches, and we all focus on doing what he does because he says it's optimal and he can prove it. Okay, so everyone is kind of arguing, kind of competing with improvement. Everyone wants to be listened to and everyone wants to be copied, it seems. Where I will say, I can't say, hey, play the game in this way, do this, do that. And if you say, great idea, I'm going to do that. Oh, it feels so cool to do it this way. Very, thank you for the help. I'm like flexing my muscles inside. I'm feeling good. And if you say that's a stupid fucking idea, well, I'm probably gonna argue with you and be, oh, that's a good idea. Here's why. It's always an argument, either with others or yourself. This is where will and discipline and all this stuff comes in. So I'll use food as an analogy. So say I can argue with you, hey, you shouldn't eat that way. You should eat this way. It's better for you. I win the argument. Oh, yeah, it definitely helps them be more healthy. Definitely. Totally. And I feel good about myself. And I've dominated the other person into doing it my way, which in my reality is better. But in their reality, it's not. It's not better. It's completely different. In my reality, I might not feel so bad when I eat something, when I do something, when I play a game a certain way. It might not feel so bad for me. But for somebody else, it might feel really bad. And if I convince them to ignore how they feel, to do what I do, or if they just copy somebody because they're better, because you trust them more than you trust yourself, I would argue that you're just role playing at that point. You're just role playing whatever you're doing. Because what happens is your reality starts to shift, as it always does. Very flimsy thing that you can constantly manipulate. It can suffer, it can be enhanced. How many of you guys watching this know what it's like to suppress an emotion, become numb and dull, and to feel gray? Changes your reality, changes your perception of reality. More than I would say it changes yourself. Changes how you feel, which is your reality. So, the more you ignore how you feel in pursuit of being optimal, the less you do, the less you exist in reality. Somebody who experiences reality has more contact with it. They exist more. It's really funny because I go back immediately to a time where I didn't want to exist at all to anybody. And so I was extremely shameful. I was a mute. I wouldn't even let people see my hand on stream. I would stream as a safety net because I knew it was bad. And so I didn't want to exist. The less I wanted to exist, the harder things became. more confusing things became. The less I felt everything. Feelings were bad, so I just ignored them. I suppressed them. Before I knew it, everything changed. Everything was different. I was on a tightrope. If I forgot to mute my teammates in game, I would fall off the tightrope. It was bad. It was very fucking bad. Okay. So, where am I? Instead of copying people, instead of optimizing things in any moment that you exist, try, just experiment, okay? I'm not telling you what to do. See how it feels to feel, to focus on how you feel, all right? Let's say you have some weaknesses you want to work on and you're playing Apex, okay? You can try to do things better in a way that you believe is better based on your current perception and contact with reality. Or you can say, well, I can come up with something logically sound right now, and I can maybe optimize that, and I can maybe walk the tightrope. Or I can realize I'm going to be wrong anyways. However, way that I feel right is wrong, inevitably, because once my reality changes, whoever I was before is going to be completely obliterated. And their feelings, their thoughts, their logic, their opinions, their confidence, everything is going to change. So, however, you are defining and pursuing optimal approaches right now is only clinging on to being correct. You're anchoring yourself down from the realization that you are wrong right now. Whatever you think you're right about right now, you're wrong. Because if your understanding for that thing changes whatsoever, up or down, you're going to feel different. As long as there's a bad feeling, there's a problem. So, let's say, whatever, I'm talking way too much. Okay, so let's just keep going. Rather than learning how to interact with reality better, we are caught up right now in solving games instead of feeling them. Yeah, so everyone's delusional. Everyone's role playing. Who does this? Everyone does this to a degree. I do this to a degree. I have to catch myself doing this, okay? I just have to notice that I do this. And I notice how I feel when I do this. And I always feel bad. I always feel stressed. I always feel worse when I start optimizing the game. Whenever I feel bad, there's a problem. So what's the solution to feeling bad? Well, instead of optimizing what I do, I just feel. I just feel. And I have a bad feeling. I focus on it until naturally my gameplay changes itself. And how does this happen? It's like magic. Whoa, how did this happen? This tightrope gets wider. The game gets easier. Okay. So we become numb, the game becomes confusing. Yeah. Talked about that. We have to walk on a smaller tightrope as our feeling for reality does down. Yeah, so I mean, so much easier to talk. I already talked about all this shit three times over. Oh, what is the takeaway from this? Because I'm just talking to talk. Because I need to talk about this. I need to reduce it to the point where I can talk about it 10 minutes and I can share it easily, more easily. So sorry for talking so much, but I had to. Um, in the end, you are in a moment. Okay, Just the moment. That never changes. You're always in a moment. And your experience of the moment can change depending on how vivid you feel anything. So you can feel things more vividly, the same way that you would suppress your feeling for things. Just do the opposite. Use your imagination a little bit. It just happens, you know. So you can do that and your reality changes. Or you can optimize things and your reality suffers because now you're prioritizing something else. So that's the split. The split is focus, priority. In the moment that you are alive, you're doing something. You can try to do something, or you can focus and feel and trust yourself. Things happen by themselves. Not a single word coming out of my mouth is intentional. It feels. As I move more towards this kind of approach, it feels less and less like I'm doing anything. When I play, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. It feels like I am impact instead. And I'm acting as impact rather than aim or dodge or macro, anything that I can split up. I just feel and I'm like, what impact am I feeling? I don't even need to think about that. I don't know. I'm gonna redo this whole thing. I said I was gonna do one take, but this is long. This is for myself. This isn't. I don't know. This is for myself in the end. So maybe I shouldn't do another take. Maybe I'll just fucking post this shit. If someone enjoys it, they enjoy it. But it's a mess. And I mean, this is the long version of the mess. Okay. So I'm still messy. I'm still fighting with myself a little bit. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this sort of epiphany where things are easy as fuck. If you want to do something, feel yourself doing it. No, don't even feel yourself doing it. Just feel. Just feel anything. Notice what you can feel. Notice that all feelings can be felt more vividly or less vividly. Notice that your perception of reality is flimsy and that it changes. And that if you don't prioritize it, it suffers. And notice what you prioritize. Notice yourself doing things, doing what you should do, and maybe neglecting what you feel. Notice when your feelings start to feel more vivid. Notice how reality changes when this happens. This is all so overwhelming. This is fucking crazy. I literally just holy fuck, I don't remember. I don't know. Like all of this is so brand new. I don't know. It's crazy that I just wrote this much, and in the end, I was more confusing before than I was now, and I'm just trying to understand that. It's so confusing. Now things are simple. How do I explain this to the public? I don't fucking know. But I'll keep trying. I'll keep I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna do a takeover real quick. I don't know. I kind of just want to like go through this a little bit and just laugh at it. Like maybe I'll do a little part two.